All right, good morning from the National Weather Service in Raleigh, North Carolina. I am Aaron Swiggett, meteorologist here at the office, and I will be covering the routine weekly briefing this Monday through Sunday. So that's the 22nd through 28th, January, rapidly coming to an end here already in 2024. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the upcoming weather pattern here because it's going to be quite a shift. So for today, you can kind of see in this upper left-hand panel here, a nice big blue H here, overspreading most of the area, keeping us dry through today. That is going to be shifting offshore and going to be bringing a rather abrupt pattern change here, and I'll get to that here in a little bit. But for the overall pattern here, you can kind of see some light green showing up in western North Carolina here. That's very light precip chances that will most likely be in the area on Tuesday. For the most part, mostly expect just increasing cloud cover, maybe a little light rain or drizzle or so on Tuesday for the most part. But otherwise, especially across eastern North Carolina, will be dry and then warming up. And I'll get to that here in a minute here. But then as we kind of head into the late week, into the early part of the weekend, precipitation chances are going to start increasing on Thursday into Friday. And as you can see here in this bottom left-hand panel, we'll have a trailing cold front from this low that's going to be moving through the Great Lakes region, and that'll be bringing our next chance for precipitation to kind of spread across the area. It may start a little bit earlier, late Thursday across western North Carolina as it kind of stalls across our area or to the west of our area. Well, as that kind of moves through and maybe stalls along the coast here in this bottom right-hand panel, we'll have a little area of low pressure that rides along the front and moves over the area, mostly into the weekend, Saturday into early Sunday. And then in between, maybe on Friday night into early Saturday, we may see a little bit of a brief lull in some rain, but for the most part, a relatively active pattern with a couple different chances for precipitation. Overall, not expecting too much to come from that, so we'll get to that here in a second. But first, I wanted to talk a little bit about the abrupt warming that's going to be on the way. So if you've never seen these graphics before, this graphic is for the maximum temperatures for the forecast area. I chose 3 different locations: Greensboro on the top, Raleigh in the middle, and Fayetteville down the bottom here. And the numbers, as you see going across, these are the high temperatures that are forecasted for each of those areas on each day. The line shows the maximum temperature line increasing. So you go from 46 to 66 here in Greensboro from Tuesday into Thursday. And then the colors in the background aren't representative of the temperature itself, but the difference from normal. So you can kind of see that we've kind of been right around near normal to below normal Monday into Tuesday, so today and tomorrow. Then that abrupt warming beginning on Wednesday and especially Thursday into Friday, and those orange colors, that just shows you how far above normal this is expected to be. And that's right around anywhere from the 20 to 25 degrees above normal for our high temperatures during this time. Already seeing some low to mid 70s popping up for mid to late week. So that's pretty impressive here for January. But in addition to the maximum temperatures, I also made a plot here for the minimum temperatures. So you can see how much darker in color, more orange and reds you're seeing here. So that's not, again, not necessarily associated with the temperature itself, but how different it is from normal. And you can kind of see our low temperatures rise pretty quickly: 31, 42, 54, 61. So we're going up 10 degrees or more in subsequent days from Tuesday, so tonight, heading into Friday morning. Yeah, so low 60s to mid 60s is anywhere between 30 to 35 degrees above normal for these locations. So a rather abrupt and pattern change, although not unheard of for this time. It's just going to be rather abrupt since we've been dealing with temperatures in the teens, 20s overnight, and 30s to 40s during the afternoon. This will be quite a significant change. So just be kind of aware of that, and hopefully the pattern change doesn't lead to any sicknesses or sinus issues or anything like that, which are definitely possible during this time of rapid changes in temperatures. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the precipitation. So if you look at our webpage or pull up an app or anything like that and see the chances of precipitation, basically Tuesday through Friday, or even through Saturday and potentially even some parts of Sunday, you may think that it may rain every single day. That's not really going to be the case. So these kind of graphics will show maybe a little bit similar to that, but I'll show you a model of choice that I think is fairly representative on the pattern itself, and we'll get to that here in a second. But so for today, for the most part, again, dry up in the upper left-hand panel here, and then the middle and the center on Tuesday, again, light precipitation chances, mostly just some drizzle to light rain, not really expecting anything greater than 1/10 of an inch heading into Tuesday. And for the most part, Wednesday will be, for the most part, pretty dry, except for out in like western North Carolina. So from Raleigh, Fayetteville eastward, you'll be dry. This is mostly coming in late Wednesday into early Thursday there. Mostly out across, or I should say, this should be mostly on Wednesday here in the Wednesday panel on the top right. But then Thursday, as you can kind of see the increasing totals there. Again, that's mostly going to be like Thursday during the day out towards the triad region, and then spreading over into the triangle really late Thursday into early Friday. So again, this graphic cuts off at 7 a.m. Friday. So this is going to be that mostly for the most part in the overnight into early part of Friday on this graphic here on the bottom left. And then Friday, we had that front that may stall kind of in the vicinity of our region, maybe falling just to the south and east of our region here. And with a front in the area, and you can't rule out any kind of precipitation chances on Friday, but we may see a brief little lull, and I'll show you that here in a second. But then the 5-day total here, so this is going all the way through 7 a.m. on Saturday, and you can kind of see that we kind of get the bluer colors out towards the triad where the better chances for better totals are out there in the 5-day total. And then on the darker green here, and that's maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain. And then the light blues out across the Greensboro kind of area, that maxes out at right around 1.5 inches. So you can kind of imagine we kind of have a gradient from right around maybe 2 inches to 1.5 inches over to maybe 1/2 inch to 1/4 of an inch across the coastal plain. Okay, so before I hop into here, I'm gonna back out here for just a second and show you this model here of choice. So this is just the GFS, or the global, the American model, as it's also noted as. But you can kind of see that there is a big high pressure kind of lingering over the area and lingering its influence, keeping us nice and dry and all the precipitation out towards Texas, Arkansas, and Missouri today. But as you can kind of see, the little blue H kind of shifts offshore and kind of opens up the gates for the precipitation chances. And for the most part, expect really light precipitation chances. You can kind of see it here. I'll try to move my cursor a little bit slower so you can kind of see what's going on. Circling this area, really light precipitation chances really during this time. So this is going to be Wednesday afternoon. You can kind of see, again, really light precipitation returns showing up on this model here. And this is going to be 7 p.m. on Wednesday. So really kind of hanging out, and really just like a little area that transitions across the area. So it's not going to be like it's going to be raining all day. And then we have, as you can kind of see, that it's really stayed off mostly to our west. The triangle hasn't really had a whole lot during this time. So then we kind of fast forward. This is Thursday during the afternoon. Again, still maybe the triad is starting to get into there. And this is 7 p.m. on Thursday, still to the west of us for the most part. But then as we get into Thursday night into Friday morning, this is going to be 7 a.m. on Friday. And you can kind of see that better axis of precipitation starting to shift east as that cold front approaches the region. And then that progresses through the area. So again, really light for the most part totals. 6-hour totals in this time are anywhere between 1/2 inch, 1/3 of an inch or so. In that general vicinity, with locally higher totals possible, but not expecting anything too crazy at this time. And again, this is going to be 7 p.m. on Friday. And this is kind of that lull I was mentioning earlier, as it kind of pulls off a little bit, and the better forcing, as we like to say, for upward motion and precipitation kind of moves out of the area, and we're just kind of lingering with a front across the area. So again, this is going to be 7 a.m. on Saturday. And then 1 p.m. on Saturday, and you can kind of see this next area of low pressure kind of riding along and north of the front as it approaches the area. And then I wouldn't worry about any of these higher totals. That's just farther out. That's most likely not going to be there in reality. But maybe a band of some heavier precipitation potential as this area of low pressure kind of moves over and across us. This is 1 a.m. on Sunday, and then progressing, 1 a.m. on Saturday, this time frame here. And then we're approaching the 7 a.m. Sunday, and then starting to move out of here during the day on Sunday there. So just a couple different waves and potential chances for some precipitation. So it's not going to be a complete and total washout, as they say, throughout that entire time, Tuesday through Sunday. So you'll have periods of rain with breaks, but mainly remaining mostly cloudy there. Okay, hopefully that addressed that concern there. How about the severe potential with this? For the most part, we're not really expecting a whole lot. Not the best pattern for severe weather during this, so we're not really expecting any severe weather at this time. However, some isolated to scattered rumbles of thunder will be possible, mostly in that Thursday into Friday timeframe with that first initial band as it's kind of maneuvering across the area. And then probably another chance as the low pressure moves across our area Saturday into Sunday. But again, not necessarily expecting any severe weather to come from that as of yet at this time range. Too much uncertainty. And again, with the totals, for the most part, actually remaining out of this time frame today through Wednesday, and then during this time period. But even heading out into Thursday, Friday, all of those times, we're not really expecting any high rainfall rates to lead to any kind of or prolonged rain to lead to any flash flooding concerns. So none of that is expected at this time. But with how much rain we've had, this is the drought outlook from last week here. Just so if you weren't on the briefing from Thursday, this is just a nice little refresher for you. You can see the current one in the top here, the top left. Really, all of central North Carolina is out of the drought, which is great news. Out in western North Carolina, a lot of recovery from the drought, and even with the axis of heavier precipitation totals over the next 5 days, mainly focused over this region. And we should expect some more improvements in the near term as we head maybe in by the next Thursday. So not this coming Thursday, but next Thursday, some improvements on that regard as well. All right, and then a popular graphic here that we've started to like to really apply to these briefings here, the experimental hazardous weather outlook, graphical hazardous weather outlook. And the only thing really highlighted is that lightning potential. And again, that's mostly going to be Thursday night into Friday, and then maybe Saturday into or Saturday night and afternoon into like the early portions of Sunday. So it's not 4 days of thunder and lightning, mostly during the transition times between those periods. Okay, and then looking out a little bit, the 8 to 14 day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, above normal and drier than normal. So temperatures still forecast to be right around to above normal average during that time from late January and then starting into early February. And interesting note, when I was updating these numbers here, this was the first time that the numbers increased. So we're starting to round the corner from the normal lowest temperatures, and our normals will start to rise during this time. So late January into early February, our normal temperatures right around that low 50s to low 30s. All right, and then that's pretty much all I have. A quick little summary. High pressure keeps things dry today. Abrupt warming in temperatures for the highs and lows, reaching 20 to 30 degrees above normal by Thursday, so a rather abrupt shift there. And then a couple, multiple chances for rain, better chances out towards the triad, less chances out towards triangle eastward for some rain, and the 5 day totals ranging from about 1/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches, highest across the foothills and the Piedmont, including the triad area. And no really hazardous weather expected at this time, but yeah, keep tuned to our briefings, and we'll see you guys on a Thursday. Thank you for joining me.